Hello, guys, and welcome back to Anything Goes with Sania and Leah. We are here with episode 14, which means 14 weeks into my prep and 4 days out into my show, peak week, baby.
Is this the first time you've announced the show on the podcast?
Yeah, it
I
is.
feel like last time you hadn't.
Yeah. No, maybe I should probably start with that then.
Yeah.
I just forget. I feel like everyone knows, like I'm just like la 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 because we filmed the podcast earlier, didn't we? Because of
Yeah.
the holiday.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, guys. So I'm doing the PCA Northeast in Newcastle. So that's this weekend. So if you don't know if it's whenever you're listening to this, it is on the 14th of May. I'm super excited for it. So yeah,
Oh,
4 days
yeah.
out.
Can't believe it's here.
No, I know. It's gone so quick.
Oh.
Gone ridiculously quick. But how was your holiday? Like, tell us about it. It looked fucking gorgeous, mate.
It was nice, yeah. So we had like a summer pool, which was so nice. It wasn't like a private one, but it was like a pool. It was like a thin strip of pool along like the back of the hotel, and all the rooms like backed onto it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So
So
that was really
private,
nice.
but kind of
Yeah,
not.
it was like kind of because the thing is we normally go to adults only, and we didn't go to adults only.
Why do you go to adults only? That's so like what
It's so much nicer.
what? I love like having children running across and
Oh
having
no, it's for literally my worst nightmare. I hate it. We
oh,
went to it. This is the first time we've gone to a non-adults only hotel together. Um, but because we had the pool and there was an adults only pool, we were okay. But literally went into the main bit and there was just like kids and babies everywhere. And I've got nothing against kids, like they're lovely, they're cute. But when I'm on holiday and I'm trying to like chill and there's like kids screaming around you, it just makes me like stressed.
really? See, I
I don't
don't
like it.
mind it. I think like I feel like it just brings that level of kind of like homely family enjoyment.
Yeah.
I feel like people over 18 are sometimes just a bit like up their own ass. And if you've got a family,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
more fun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So no, it was really nice though. Like the weather was a bit up and down. Like there was a couple of days where it rained and it was a bit cloudy. So we got a car and we like did some traveling and stuff and a bit of exploring. So that was really nice. And yeah, and I had the week off work as well. So I didn't do any, I did like actually no, I did a few bits and bobs. Like I did the odd check-in with the girls that are on prep, and I did like a couple of new clients who I had. I like caught up with them and did their check-ins, but I had like most of the week off work, which was really, really nice as well.
You
So
need
that was good. Pardon?
you needed it, especially starting prep soon.
Yeah, 100%. And I never used to do, I don't know if you feel like this, but and I feel a bit like, I don't know, talking about this, but I feel like you see so many I follow a lot of coaches, I'm sure you do as well. And I always see people online like always showing how much work they're doing and like working super early in the morning and like going on holiday and working. And then I feel like everyone is just working all the time. And then I feel like guilty for, you know what I mean? And I find it really
Yeah.
hard. I'm like, most people get 4 or 5 weeks off a year. I literally have a little bit of time off over Christmas. And the first time I ever did that was last year.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like one of
Um,
the things, right? Like you clearly prioritize yourself, which is very much what every business owner should do. Obviously, I think at the start of like a business, you do need to prioritize work over like personal time, but I still think that you should still be allowed a week of time
yeah,
when you don't work. And
yeah,
I think it's really important that when you do, I think especially when you aren't traveling for work or you're traveling with a partner or you're traveling with family and friends, like it's very important to allocate your time with them with and
yeah,
not work. And it's just one of those things, right, where it's like you are going to feel guilty, but at the end of the day, do you not feel so much fresher and so much
yeah,
more ready to work right now? So
yeah,
you
100%. That's the
more into
thing.
your job than someone
Yeah,
who's constantly working and is going to be constantly beat up, constantly stressed. And it's
yeah,
just like, no, like people in life do need time off.
yeah. And especially like I went away with Will, like he has bank holidays off. I work every bank holiday.
Yeah.
So like we never, yeah, we need our own time together as well where I'm not working. So I didn't feel guilty and it was really nice, but I think I'm definitely better at it now. But I think sometimes it's really hard just
Other people,
seeing
yeah.
other coaches like never, and they're like kind of bragging about how they just never have time off. And I'm like, this isn't like, you wouldn't not be telling your clients to never have any time off work over the year.
But then you speak to them and they'll be probably like quite like run down and stressed and tired, when in reality, like, I'd rather have a better quality of life than, you know, a better quality service. And it's just one of those, like, some people like do need to just generally be busy to, you know, actually get through day to day. And if that's how they are, then that's how they are. But I feel like me and you are very similar, where it's like we need that time to ourselves to you know, just actually relax. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's just one of those, yeah, it is hard seeing it. But at the end of the day, just because someone's working every day doesn't mean that they're providing any better of a service. It just means that they're
exactly
working more. Like, what's the saying? To be successful, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, that is very true. So yeah, nice break, not much work, some good food. Yeah, miss the dogs.
What prep when? 2 weeks?
2 weeks on Sunday. I know, I can't believe it. I'm so excited, you know.
Oh my God. It's literally gonna be like, I finished prep on the 6th of June. So
Yeah, so I'll be like a week into prep when you finish.
yeah. Oh, that's so shit, isn't it?
Oh, exciting though.
It is exciting. It is really exciting. But what was I gonna say? I can't even remember what I was gonna say. What's your first show? Like, how long's your first? How long's your?
I know what you mean. You're a bit tired today, aren't you?
So I think we both are.
Yeah, I think we both are. So we're running on low energy today, guys. My first show is the British, which is mid-October. So I basically start week. What? Start. God. I basically start prep 20 weeks out, and then I've got 5 weeks until the Worlds. So it'll be 25 weeks in total. Because I think I'm just doing the 2 shows.
Are you?
Yeah, because I just feel like I want to give PC a really good
chance.
You know, there is a FitX show in between, which is like an NFM and FitX combined, which is that Night of Champions one, which is, I think, halfway in between the two. So I was debating maybe jumping in that, but we'll see.
You'll lose your pro card, right?
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
I'd speak to them. I think because they haven't got enough pros at the moment to kind of be picky, I think they'll allow it. I'm not sure. It depends on like what their rules are. Like, you haven't signed a contract or anything, though, have you?
No, I haven't signed a contract, but I think I am just going to do the 2 PCAs because with since I've been with Dan as well, I've only ever done like 1 or 2 shows. I've never done more than that.
I see. I'm excited, like, because I've only ever done 2 shows, but I feel like I really missed out on kind of like the actual show experience, like in the sense of like, because I wanted more peak weeks, I wanted more show on show rather than having like 1 show and then 3 weeks later it's the next.
Yes, yeah.
So it's like one of them, but exciting stuff ahead.
Very exciting. So you're on your peak week now.
I am, yes.
I have to keep like, catching myself because I feel like for so many weeks I've been like, don't finish
like holding it. Been hiding.
Have you announced your other days?
So I've announced this one, the PCA one. I've announced my first Two Bros one, which is on the 27th.
Whereabouts is that? Is that the one like down south?
This is Wigan, yeah. So the PCA one's in Wigan, which I thought was going to be in London. So I booked a hotel, or Maidenhead, wherever it is. And then I didn't read it properly, and it's in Wigan. So yeah, I've only announced those 2 shows. I actually no, I've already told you about that. But I've got 2 more. Yeah, 2 more after that, which I'm not announcing. It's gonna be like more of like a spontaneous, hey guys, lol, here I am kind of thing. Because I feel like the next 2 shows are bigger ones and there's a lot more pressure for them. Whether these are kind of like, right, get to know them, warm on up, go and do it. And then the other shows are like, haha, okay, turning the heat on now. But I felt good. Like, I felt really good when I announced it, and people have been really, really, really positive. And to be honest, I think the majority of people either thought I was competing in the same show as Reese, or this week anyway for PCA. I think people like already
Yeah.
had a bit of an inkling, and it was kind of just like the confirmation. But I feel good. I feel like I've been given a lot of support. Like, I don't really feel that there's been any negativity or anything like that, which I was really worried about. Not that I think like people would give me negativity like to my face or like on social media, but like, you know, and you can kind of just tell with how like interaction is and all that kind of stuff, and like certain aspects like that, you can always tell, or someone says something to you like, someone said this about you, by the way. Do you know what I mean? But I've not had any of that, so I feel good. I feel like myself, I'm in a really good position to compete this weekend. And being at the PCA show last weekend, or last week, a couple of days ago, it was really nice. It was really nice to kind of see how it is, and just to kind of go, oh shit, this is going to be me this time next week.
Yeah. It's always good to watch them, isn't it? I think when you're close to your show, because like you get in your own little prep bubble, and sometimes when you watch your show, it's like, oh my god, like this is like exciting now.
Yeah, 100%. So in this podcast, we thought we'd kind of enter the topic of peak week, because I feel like peak week is so different for everyone else, and kind of like what to expect with peak week, about peak week, why is it called peak week, and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that would be kind of like a good kind of coordination. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, because obviously you're there and you can kind of give an honest insight into how you feel, and we can maybe talk through what your typical peak week looks like what I've done before, and go from there. Because I mean, I don't know if you found this, but like as a female, for me, not a lot changes in. I think people have this massive misconception that peak week, like you do loads of different things and it like dramatically changes what you look like. But I just think, you know, as long as you're ready before your peak week, you're all good. You just kind of roll in, and nothing, there's a few small tweaks, but nothing really changes that much.
No, I agree. And I think, do you want to explain what peak week is and why it's called peak week?
It's basically the week before your show, isn't it? The week leading into your show, when you're trying to peak your physique to get it in like the best possible.
Make it fuller. So you'll like run yourself flat, and now you're trying to like fuel your body to like make things pop, basically.
Yeah, because what basically happens is obviously you're depleted because you've pushed so hard, you've done loads of cardio, your expenditure is probably through the roof, your food's super low, you end up looking a bit like flat as such.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so what you're basically doing is putting the food in, and it basically like rounds your muscle out a bit more and makes everything like pop a bit more.
Yeah, and you wash away fatigue as well, because what will happen generally is you'll reduce the amount of expenditure you do, but whether that's walking and cardio, which usually tends to alleviate in some water, which hopefully means you bring in a little bit more condition as well. But yeah, you're entirely right. My peak week is pretty simple, like nothing really changes. So I saw Tom Friday. As of Saturday, we basically said we're going to run low days. My low days are my rest day food, whether it's a training, whether it's a rest day or not. That's the food that we're on for the next 5 days, just to kind of get a little bit more condition through my lower half. Now it's quite infuriating because it is so lighting dependent. In harsh natural lighting, the glute ham tie is peeking through, but in like good lighting, like what I mean by good lighting, like, you know, like stage lighting kind of thing, that's when my glute ham tie comes in. So I feel like quite confident with that, but we're just basically digging for that low days, which I'm struggling today, feeling hungry, just tired. Actually, it's the tiredness. I don't think people really understand. Food, even though you're food focused, right, you're just tired. You're genuinely just tired. Like, after I come off this podcast, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, because you sleep, you were saying before, like you get to the point where you can't really sleep because you're so like dieted that you can't sleep, and then it just makes it worse because you can't sleep, and it just you can't get out of it from then, can you?
Exactly. And basically all me and Tom that are doing differently, and it's the most basic peak that we would, anyone or everyone has probably done, is we're basically, so we did like a fake peak week, you want to call it. It wasn't intended, but we were like, oh shit, like this is a really good look. So all we're gonna do is Thursday we're gonna put in more carbs. Friday, we're going to put a little bit more carbs, depending on how I look after Thursday, will determine if we keep it the same, lower it, or higher, make it higher. And then then Saturday, that will basically be right, lower food, more than likely, so we can wash off any water that I'm retaining from the carbs, and then we'll just kind of eat as and when we need to keep the fullness on show day. So
this is exactly the same as what I did.
Yeah, like we aren't increasing water to dry myself out. We aren't increasing caffeine. We aren't doing pro fats, anything like a week before. We aren't doing any of the fancy schnancy shit that a lot of other people do. We're literally just increase the carbs, keep the fats and protein the same. Bish bash bob, Bob's your uncle, Sania's peaked.
Yeah, literally. I think it's a lot less manipulative than what people think, because I think I got asked what happens with like do you have to like not drink water for like a day before you compete, and you have to like change your salt and stuff like that, and like I don't know about you, but my water stayed the same all the way through my peak week, and then in the morning I was just like, Dan told me at what time to drink what amount of water, because obviously if you down loads of water in the morning you're going to be a little bit like bloated. So
yeah, to be honest, I don't know about water. Tom said keep my water the same up until he says, basically. So we will most likely start bringing out water the day before, in the sense of like not doing 4 or 5 liters a day, probably maybe just 2 liters, something like that, just to kind of reduce it. And then again, sipping on water with my meals, and then also just a shit ton of coffee on the day so I can actually have a shit as well.
trick of show day, have a coffee so you can go to the toilet.
Honestly, yes, show day is a good day when you have a shit. When you don't
that's what everyone's like, please let me be able to do this when they wake up.
Let me poop.
What about your salt? Does that stay the same?
Salt is staying the same. It will probably increase leading up, again, because I'm checking in every day. The thing is, right, with peak week, and I think this is kind of what it's like for everyone, is like you can't really plan ahead. You can have an idea of what's going on. You might have 400 grams of carb and actually still look flat as shit. And you need more carb, but me and Tom would have planned 400, but we actually go, oh shit, you're not actually as full as we thought. You need more, or we need to dry you out a little bit. Here's a bit more of this, and this. Actually, we probably need to get rid of a little bit more water than we'd like. Okay, let's not have this much food, blah, blah, blah. So you can have an idea, like you can always go to your coach, what am I doing for peak week? What am I doing for peak week? But I'm not going to lie, they don't even know until
it is just play it by ear, isn't it?
Yeah. So like at the moment, low food. I know my kind of like, so I'm having an upper or pull. I think pull or upper today. We're leaving 2-3 RIR, and then it's just a pump session on Thursday. So my training has changed to just kind of like, don't fuck yourself up.
You don't want DOMs on peak week, so
no. So it's basically like just kind of get the blood flowing. Pretty much pumpy sessions anyway throughout this whole thing. And then like every day I'm checking in. I have no doubts in the next couple of days I'll be checking, like after I eat food, like when my refeed starts, I'll probably be checking in after every meal. But again, like it's so dependent on how my body responds to it, because if my body doesn't respond the way it is, we need to make adjustments, and that's just how it is when it comes to people. The body's so responsive at this point, you do have to just
play it by ear. Mine was the same.
What like the increase of carbs, and that's it?
Yeah, so I know you said you have your low day regardless of the training or the rest, so I had a training high and a low day, and a rest high and low day. So I had 4 different days. Obviously the food on the both training days was the same. There was just more carbs basically and a bit more fats on the high day. So there was 2 different meal plans and just like a variation of each one for the high and low day. So I would just go on whichever day it fell. I would just do, if Dan said high day, I would have high, blah, blah, blah. So that's how I did mine. So we basically ran the low days And then we started on the high days, and then we just check in every day, and I'd either go, yeah, another high day, or no, actually run a low day, and we just do it based on like what I look like. But I actually ended up running, I think it was like 7 or 8 high days. It was a lot of high days back to back. And then some days be like, yeah, have a high day and add an extra like 30 grams of oats in this meal and 100-gram potato in this meal. So we'd just sometimes bump it up. And then we did the same. We ran like a low day with slightly more carbs than my previous low day for I think the couple of days before the show, just to like pull back a little bit.
Yeah, you don't want to like be eating loads like up until the show. Like you want to have like at least a day usually where you're, unless you're like competing at like 8 p.m. Like, you know, some bikini girls do. You know, you don't really want to be eating because you're going to be bloated, your stomach isn't going to be as tight, and you just basically need your body to kind of actually soak everything in. But yeah, like generally, I think for females, peak week is a lot simpler because I don't think we hold as much muscle, or, you know, like we don't usually hold as much muscle.
I think it's much harder to peak a guy because they've got like diuretics and everything in the mix that they're like messing about with, and it's just
a lot of drugs, a lot more kind of like muscle to kind of peak. They have to have a lot more food and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like for females, like it is relatively simple. And I feel like you said, like, I know Reese's peak was quite simple, to be fair. Like, it wasn't fucking all this and all that. Because, like, a lot of the time, like you said, people just think, oh, yeah, peak week, everything's going to change. When in reality, like, you don't need to do all this fancy shit. Like, you might need to, but, like, the majority of the time, it's quite simple. Just eat and reduce.
So, you know, you've got your low day and you've got your high day. So have you like, is this the same food that you've been running kind of before, or are the kind of the macros different and the meal plan different in this low day and high day to what it was that you've been running throughout the last like few weeks of prep?
So my food hasn't changed, I think, in like the last 4 weeks. So basically, like my rest day is just like marginally lower than my training day was. Like we found that we were dropping more obviously on a rest day. So we were like, right, we're just going to push that a little bit more to obviously kind of get a little bit more condition, just to kind of see where we can go, because we want to kind of like cruise into the main show. Like I don't mind digging into this show. But it's literally just my rest day food, so nothing's changed. It's just food, but on training days. But because my training days aren't really training days, it's not really making much of a difference. I'm probably losing like an extra 200, 300 calories on a train. It's pumpy sessions. I'm in and out within an hour because I just don't want to be there any longer. And I just genuinely, I'm all right with one set. I'm like one rep. I'm like, yeah. Second one, I'm like, yeah. And then third one, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, what happened there? What the fuck?
It just goes, doesn't it?
You just don't have any oomph, you don't have any power, your mind is like tired, you feel all right with the warms, you feel all right with the first 2 reps, and then all of a sudden you're like, ow,
get me in a bed.
Yeah, I'm tired. So leg hard yesterday, but hey ho, is what it is. 4 days out, you can't complain that I'm only just really starting to struggle. Like, I wouldn't even say I'm struggling, I would just say I'm finding it harder.
Yeah, like, just feeling it a little bit more.
Yeah, like struggling was last prep. Like I fucking struggled, man. Like I was gonna quit. I was in that mindset. I hated it, hated life, blah, blah, blah. But I actually love life, love what I do, enjoying it, just feeling a little bit more kind of like sensitive and a little bit more fragile.
Which you would expect, like, I think you've done pretty well to get like 95% of the way through and be like, yeah, actually I'm fine.
Yeah, 100%. And I also think like, I'm very good at putting on a persona. Like on this podcast, I'm probably going to go, she doesn't look seem preppy at all. And I like, as soon as I come off this podcast, I'm going to be like, and I'm like, right, check-ins. Hey guys, so welcome to your check-in. Thank you so much. And I'm like, in between check-ins.
Yeah, that was like me on prep last year, you know, when I was prepping for the universe. And I have some days where I have like quite a few like check-ins. And obviously I just sit, you'll be the same. I just sit and do my check-ins back to back until they're done, and then I'll go and train after. And I'd be like, I'm like quite animated, I think, on check-ins. I'm like, hey, are you okay? Hope you've had a lovely day. And I'd be like super bubbly. And then after I'd be like,
literally, I'm like, oh my God, I got 5 left.
And then I'm playing that, so be like, hi.
Yeah.
And it's like, because you do have to like put on a bit of a,
hey, hope your week was good. How was everything?
Literally.
You've got to though. You've got to, like, it's your job at the end of the day. Like, can't just go, hey guys, yeah, looks good, no changes. All right, I'll see you later. Yeah, bye. Like, you can't be like that. Do you know what I mean? But honestly, like in between check,
No.
like, but I have to take at least 2-3 minutes to not do anything after one check-in.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I've got 19 today, and I'm like,
God, that's a lot actually in one day, isn't it? Do you do all yours on one day, or do you like spread them out?
yeah, I do all of them on one day because they like have it 2 weeks after their session. But I'm just gonna go. I'm basically what I'm planning to do is I'm going to do half of them now after this, train, so it's like midday, half of them in the evening. Because I feel like spreading them out will be okay enough for my training session, but also I would have eaten prior to doing my check-ins. So I would have some sort of it's all strategic here.
Like strategic planning.
But honestly, guys, like peak week is fun, but please don't fucking think that, you know, like I feel like a lot of people get disheartened when their coach is like, no, you're digging for still a couple of days, like you're only a week out. Like a lot of the time the food comes to you like only 3 days before your actual show. So don't be thinking peak week you're getting all this food. Like you might be, but you might not be. So just don't have an expectation for peak week.
What about your cardio then? Is that because before you dropped, I think last time I asked you, you dropped your cardio down a bit. So is that, what are you doing cardio wise at the minute? Is that like tapered off anymore?
I haven't had cardio for like the last 2 weeks, but what we have done actually is we bought the weighted vest back for like 9K.
I saw that actually.
Yeah, just to kind of, again, just to get as much as we can off, because we weren't looking at my glute and ham tie as much in our last prep because that wasn't our main focus. Our main focus was the overall look. But when it comes to bikini, that is very much what we look for. So we thought bringing the weighted vest, my steps he says 14K. But I said to him, I was like, I won't lie to you, like I'm a bit of a twat and I'm actually aiming for 16K because I was like, I just want to do that extra 2K because I feel like I can. I feel like my energy levels will allow me to do it. If I can just push that extra 2K with the steps, that's an extra 2K steps less of calories that I'm having. Does that make sense? So I said to him, I was like, I know you said 14K, but I am doing 16. He was like, that's fine. He was like, that's fine. But as soon as your legs start to feel piss poor, we're running it down. And he was like, he said, he messaged me, he was like, these next few days are going to be really, really shit for you. Like, you'll be okay. Like, just keep going. And I actually messaged him. I was like, I actually feel great. Like, I actually feel all right about it. Like, the day before the 5 days of dig happened, I did feel a sheer amount of anxiety because when someone says it's going to be hard, you think it's going to be hard. And I thought to myself, I was like, I'm going to be really positive about this. Like, I am a true believer in positive thoughts and positive affirmations result into positive feelings and like to a positive outcome. I said to him, I was like, if I think positively about it, I don't think I'm going to struggle as much. And it genuinely has helped me a lot. Like it's 5 days. I feel good. Like it's not even like, it's only been the 3rd day where I've gone, oh, okay. But I'm going into it like, okay, I feel a bit shit. Is what it is. It's prep. I feel good. Put some good music on, you know, have fun with clients, just have a really positive day. And the days go so quick because I'm thinking positively.
And also you're so close to your show now, it kind of just drives you through, doesn't it? It's like, you know, it's not far away.
Exactly that. So I think he was shocked because obviously when I first competed, I was very much like, shit, no, I hate you. I said to her after the prep, I was like, I hated you when you didn't give me refeeds. And he was like, yeah, sounds about right. But this time I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, you've got like a lot more experience this time around, haven't you? Like you've already been through it. So
yeah. Do you find that you like wish for like high days when you're in prep? Do you like watch your check and like hoping more food today, Leah? Or do you not care anymore?
I feel like I'm pretty like impartial now. Like I just kind of, I don't know. I'm not, obviously when I do get more food, I'm like, oh yeah, buzzing. Like it's great. Because also I feel like it wasn't so much not so much for the universe, but for the British before, we were literally, it got to 3 weeks out and Dan was like, I don't think we can like push much more because they're gonna move you into athletic. Because we actually, not many people knew this, but we actually went back and forward loads, like that 2-3, I don't know how far it was before I competed, maybe a month or two, and we were like going back or forward for ages in terms of like, do we do athletic, do we do toned, and we kept jumping when I was doing the British.
Oh, like what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Yeah. So for the last like 3-4 weeks of that prep, I was literally on high days into the prep, so it was pretty nice.
Yeah, Reece said he was like, because he's been on high days for a while, he's like, I actually look forward to the low days now. Like, he was like, I know I'm in a prep and I probably shouldn't, but like this, like, you just feel so totally wrong doing it. Like, you feel you're going backwards. He was like, I'd rather be digging than I would be feeding.
Yeah. It's like that weird thing on prep when you're like, this is a bit like messed up really, but when your coach messages you and it's like, right, more cardio, like less food, we're going to push. I'm like, yeah. Because you know that it's going to like really change things.
This is it. Like, you're constantly like, right, I need to get leaner, I need to get leaner, I need to get leaner. So when you're like running high food, it's like, but why? Meant to be dieting when in reality,
like you're just waiting.
Yeah. But no, like it's one of those, like your head's like, no matter what, no matter whether they give you no food or more food, you're either going to feel fucking fat as fuck because you're eating loads of food, or you're going to feel shit as fuck because you're on less food. You're just never really like happy. Like, you're happy, but you're never really like happy with the what they've done, what they've given you. You know what I mean? Like, you're initially you're like, oh, great, and then you're like, what have I done?
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
You ruined my prep. Shouldn't have given me food.
No, it's just, I think you just get, I think the more you do it, you just like kind of don't really take it in, you just kind of do it and just don't really,
you don't think about it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm at the point now where I just don't really think about it. I just like do it. And
I have a question actually. Have you ever, whilst you've been in a prep, obviously let's not count your first prep, maybe not your second, but have you ever like gone over on calories at all? Like, just because you couldn't handle it? Like, have you ever like not cheated on your diet, but have you ever like done anything to kind of hinder the progress?
Not since that first prep.
That's really
so
good.
I literally the British, that was my second, so the prep to British from the second prep, and then obviously the universe, I literally did not step a toe out of line the whole of those 2 preps.
That's good. That's really good.
But the first one I can't.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, we won't class the first one.
Don't count the first prep. But apart from that, yeah, all good. What about you?
My first prep, I had one celebration. I think it was like 3 weeks out. I was just like, you know, when you go through that weak moment, and it was there, and I was like, I just have one. But then I cut out my dark chocolate in my last meal. So technically, does it count? Maybe. But I had one celebration in my first prep, like leading up to my first show. You know, like those little teaser ones. And then as soon as I did it, I was like, oh, I hate that feeling, never doing that again.
Yeah, it's just not a nice feeling, is it?
Done that, and I was like, right, I'm taking the same amount of calories out of my first meal just so I'm still in plan. But I genuinely felt more hatred to myself than I've had this prep, not once at all. But you know, when you're just like, I wonder if people even like us cheat on their diet, because you know, like Brandon Harding put up a YouTube video of him like completely cheating on his diet and then taking a shit ton of drugs to make up for it. I don't know if it was years back. It was a couple of years back now. But like, I just kind of wanted to ask a question because I didn't know, like, I want people to obviously, because I had a client say that she's like in a group chat, and like sometimes people like in that chat openly kind of explain that they've cheated on their diet. And I feel like maybe we should kind of discuss just briefly before we finish, what to do if you have cheated on your diet in a prep. And because I feel like that's a kind of good topic to talk about, in the sense of like how to approach it. Because I had a celebration. I can admit I've done it. You've done it in your first prep, and you learn from it once you've done it. But yeah, what's your thoughts? Like, I thought that would be kind of like a good little finisher.
I think with that as well, it's like a really slippery slope, because in your head when you're on prep, you're like, meal plan, that's it. everything else is just, it doesn't even cross your mind. Like family meals out, like you just, the option isn't even there. So all the options are taken away and you just don't even think about it. So I feel like when something happens like that, it like opens the door a bit and you're like, where does that now stop?
Yeah,
So
you're
it
like,
blurs the line.
I can have a little bit
Yeah.
more. I've not
So it
gained.
just, that's
Yeah.
what happened to me on my first prep. And I was like, oh, well, actually, like, I'm okay. Like, it's all, and then it just really negatively spirals. So I just think, I don't know, it's just a tough one, isn't it? But I also think with that, I got into a really slippery slope on my first prep then, where then would like really then not eat anything for ages, go and do extra cardio. This was just really not a good prep. Like, should not have prepped at all this time, but that time. But I was like doing extra cardio, like restricting, like completely. So I did lose the weight, and I did, obviously my weight did come down because I was then not eating for like a day after and doing like hours of extra cardio. But I feel like that is absolutely not the right thing to do. Like the best thing to, don't do that. Do not, worst idea ever. Just tell your coach, be honest with your coach, because if you've got a coach that wants for the best for you for that prep, they'll be honest with you and they'll either help you through it, or if it keeps happening, they'll be honest and they'll be like, look, like you shouldn't be prepping. Because I know if I'd been honest with my coach at the time, they would have turned around to me and been like, we can't do this prep, like you can't be prepping right now, which was the right option at the time. Like I shouldn't have prepped. So I just think like, just be honest with it, because at least if your coach knows, they can act in the best way possible to help you rectify that. But if they don't know, they're just stabbing in the dark because they're basing their decisions off what you're telling them. And if you're not being honest, how can they make a decision for you?
This is it. Like coaches are going to trust their client, and if their weight's coming down, they're going to assume that they're doing the right thing. And obviously there's a reason why over the week your calories are spread the way that they are, because your energy levels won't dip and then you crash and then you crash and then you have more food and then it spikes and then you crash and then you crash. Your training will be shit, everything will be shit, like your mentality will be shit. I think if you were to like obviously cheat on your diet, you, like you said, you do just have to be completely honest with your coach and say, look, I fucked up, I don't want to do it again, help me if you do it again.
Just do that.
Yeah, I fucked up again, I'm mentally not here, I need help, this isn't what's going on, that I need help. And they'll just either say, right, you need to stick to plan, give you ideas, blah, blah. And then if you, like you said, if you continue doing it, fuck the prep off.
Yeah, not worth it.
Yeah, don't do extra cardio, don't restrict yourself, let your coach make the plan as to how to rectify the issue. If it is one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, shit, it happened, it was just one chocolate bar, same as tomorrow, just don't have the chocolate bar. That's probably what is going to happen. But if you're continuously doing it, you're really going to struggle mentally, and then post show you're going to struggle mentally.
Just
and
not a good place.
not good. So putting a stop to a prep also has to be normalized, because it isn't for everyone, and people do struggle, and they will get to a point where they're like, this is my tipping point, I can't do it anymore, and this is why it's like the 1% that do it.
Yeah. And also, if that happens, it doesn't mean that you can't ever prep. It just might mean that now is not the right time for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're not capable of doing it. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means maybe it isn't the right time. And, you know, speaking from experience, like I carried on, I pushed through the prep, and I was in this horrible binge restrict cycle. And it took me 2-3 years to get my relationship with food back into a good spot again. You know, so it's not worth it. It's really, really not.
This is it. Like, you have to say, now's not my time. You have to be honest with yourself. But you also have to be so strong-willed within this sport.
Yeah.
And if you're just not quite there yet, you're just quite not there yet, and you have to put your hand up and hold yourself accountable and say, I'm just not there yet. And you need,
that's okay.
Yeah, and it's absolutely fine. Like, your mental well-being and your physical health, although in a prep it's slightly different, but like it comes first. Like,
yeah, definitely,
it comes first. And yeah, I think where I pushed myself to continue to prep when I mentally wasn't in it for the last 3 weeks of the British, I think if I was to stop at the first time, my post show would have been a lot better. But I'm not saying, like, I think just mentally, because I wasn't in the prep and I was just pushing and pushing and pushing, mentally I just get worse and worse and worse. Yeah. But in hindsight, it took me like 6, maybe 8 months to get better after post show. If I stopped first timers would I be able to have bounced back a lot better because I was in a really good mindset? Probably.
Yeah.
So it is one of those things where it's like you need to weigh up what's worth it. And the only thing that I can stress is please be honest with your coach, because if you are lying to your coach, you're lying to yourself, you're lying to your progress. You're going to have said, what could I have done better, when in reality you should always be honest. Always. If they're a twat of a coach and they fucking have a go at you, bin them off. If they say, like, I mean, a bad go at you saying, can't believe you did that, blah, blah, blah. If they're like, well, that's not fucking ideal, is it? You know, then that's fine. But like, if they're like genuinely giving you like ag and, you know, like genuinely just making you feel worse, they clearly just don't really care, and they're just more so like, get you on stage, bish bash.
Yeah. And I also think, just following on from that as well, because I know we both said like the last prep, well, your last prep, my last two preps have been like to the point, absolutely fine. I still had days where I really, really, really struggled on that prep. Like I had days where I would be like, oh my God, I'm so drained and starving right now. And I would literally walk into the kitchen and like open the fridge and then be like, what the fuck am I doing?
I did that the other day.
Like, that still happens. And I would literally be stood there like,
I'll just be looking at it. Like the thought in my mind won't go eat it, but I'm looking for food to eat, but I won't eat it. Does that mean like I'm opening? I'm like, what food do I have to eat? Like as if I have the option.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bang.
But sometimes I would be there like, I need to go to the shop, like get flavored water, have another Diet Coke. Like sometimes I would really, really, really have to mentally push myself to be like, no, like you're on prep, like get your head in the game. Or I'd like have to go out for a walk. I'd be like, I just can't be in the house, so I'm going to eat something. Like I still had those moments where it was like, not very often, and only really towards like where I was really digging. But I still had moments that were like mentally really challenging on that prep.
Everyone has them, I think. Like genuinely, there are going to be moments that are harder than others.
Yeah.
Even though I say like, even though I say, oh, I feel fine, this prep's been relatively good. It has been for me, but there have been hard days. But I think because I'm comparing it to my first one to this one, this is fucking and I think if you were to do the same between your last prep and then your first prep, you go fucking easy. Even though it's hard some days, because there's more positive days than there were hard days.
100%.
Just think genuinely, guys, just think positively, and just get yourself out the house, make yourself busy, just do anything, just whatever you do, like really think, is food gone forever? No.
That helps me a lot, just thinking like it's that's literally there for the rest of your life.
This prep is 25 weeks. That is it. That's the only, like, that's it. After that, it's gonna be there. It's gonna be there. And I promise you, it's not even as good as you are imagining it in your head. You literally eat it because your hunger hormones are all over the place anyway. You're gonna want more anyway. You're never gonna be satisfied, not for at least a couple of weeks after. So don't feed into the satisfaction of being full or having the flavors in your mouth. It's all here. But in reality, it's gonna be there. You're gonna get it. Like, let it be when you deserve it. Don't grab the trophy before you even competed on stage. Does that make sense? Like, don't take the win yet. You're not there yet.
And I also, sorry, going off on tangent now. I also think don't like victimize it. I don't know. This is one of the things where I think people make prep harder than it needs to be. They like victimize themselves, and they're like, I don't know, just on social media and stuff.
Like dieting this, dieting that. Like it's gonna be so hard. It's like, think positively because you're making it hard for yourself.
And also even like like when friends are out for meals, like they're like, oh, like this is like torture, like sat here with all my friends, like, oh my God, like how, like for example, I had to go to McDonald's with like my friend or my kid, like, oh my God, can't eat anything, like don't, because I just think it makes you feel 10 times worse than what you need to be. Like just shut it out, crack on, get the job done, because I think sometimes making yourself feel like a victim, like, oh, I can't do this, like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. You're just talking yourself into believing that it's a lot worse than what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. And this is why I say just think positively. Okay, out with my family. This is really nice time with my family. So I can't eat, I can still be really good company, and they're really good company for me. So thank you. Oh, my kids enjoying their food. I'm really happy for them.
Yeah.
About the genuine positives rather than that. Can't believe I'm not allowed to eat that. Okay.
Yeah, it's just not a good mindset to be in.
And you'll just feel more restricted than you are. When in reality, you're probably eating more than a normal human eats on a day-to-day basis anyway. Because you eat 5 meals.
Yeah, it's all like a mindset thing, isn't it?
Exactly. But shall we finish off there?
Yeah, I feel like that was a long one. What time is it?
It was about 45 minutes, I think.
My brain's just extra tired today.
But no, very, very, very excited for Pete Week. This time next week, I may have a trophy, I may not have a trophy.
Oh my god, this time next week you're gonna compete in your first show. We can do like next week. We can do a show day rundown.
Okay, yeah, we'll do a show day rundown.
Show day experience.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna do a YouTube on it as well. But I feel like we should. I'll talk through every hour of it, every second, every minute. I'll write everything down for you guys. But no, I appreciate every support, and we appreciate support. Again, we still have that Instagram, so if you haven't already, fucking follow it.
Nearly on 100.
Nearly on 100. Yeah. We are so close to 100, and I just want to say a massive, massive thank you. We are getting over 500 listens on this now since we got the Instagram and stuff. So we really, really appreciate the support, and we've had a lot of positive comments and people messaging us about it helping them throughout their own journey as well. So thank you very, very, very much, and we'll see you for the next one.
Thanks, guys. Bye.